Airports are designed to make us feel safe. Metal detectors hum, guards scan every movement, and cameras watch from every corner. But what if I told you, in one of the busiest airports in America, the biggest cash robbery in US history unfolded almost effortlessly? It happened in December 1978, at New York's JFK Airport. In the quiet hours before dawn, while planes slept and baggage belts rested, a team of mob-connected thieves slipped past all that supposed security. They didn't fire a single bullet. They didn't trip a single alarm. Yet by sunrise, they vanished into the darkness with millions in untraceable cash and jewels. This is not just a heist story. This is a story about betrayal, paranoia, and blood. A robbery so bold, it rewrote the way America thought about airport security forever. It began with one man, Louis Werner. Werner wasn't a hardened criminal. He was a Lufthansa cargo worker, a man in his 40s drowning in gambling debts. He owed the wrong people money, the mob. Werner knew something few outsiders did. Lufthansa, the German airline, regularly shipped millions of dollars in cash into JFK from overseas, money from currency exchanges, bound for American banks. The cash sat in a vault before armored trucks hauled it away. And Werner knew the schedules, the weaknesses, the quiet corners where rules slipped. Instead of keeping that knowledge buried, he whispered it to mob associates. A spark lit. The mob didn't just see money, they saw an opportunity for the score of a lifetime. And they knew exactly who could make it happen. Jimmy, the Gent, Burke. If Werner was the spark, Burke was the fire. A notorious associate of New York's Lucchese crime family, Burke was sharp, calculating, and merciless. His reputation? A man who could pull off robberies like clockwork, and who never left loose ends. Burke listened carefully to Werner's tip. Millions in unmarked bills. A lightly guarded vault. Inside knowledge. It was perfect. But Burke also knew, perfect jobs attract the wrong kind of attention. The FBI. The NYPD. Rival gangs. So he kept the circle tight. He handpicked his crew. Tommy DeSimone, young and volatile. Angelo Sepe, tough and loyal. Joe Manri and Polly Vario's men, disciplined professionals. Each man had a role. Each man knew mistakes meant prison, or death. For weeks, they studied Lufthansa's operations. They rehearsed the timing, the access points, the getaway routes. Burke demanded precision, down to the second. This wasn't just another robbery. It was a military operation. The night air was bitter cold at JFK's cargo terminal. Inside, a skeleton crew of workers shuffled paperwork and moved crates, unaware of what was coming. Then it happened. A van rolled up. 6 masked men stormed inside. Guns drawn, commands sharp. Workers were tied up, mouths taped. No panic, no screaming, just cold control. The thieves knew exactly where to go. Straight to the Lufthansa vault. And there it was, boxes stacked with US currency, unmarked, fresh from overseas. In just over an hour, nearly $5 million in cash and $1 million in jewels were loaded into the van. Adjusted for today's value? Over $25 million. And then, just like that, they vanished into the night. No alarms triggered. No one hurt. By dawn, New York awoke to headlines that screamed of a robbery so massive, it felt unreal. The perfect crime, at least for the moment. The next morning, JFK was chaos. Workers whispered in fear. Agents stormed the terminal. Journalists swarmed the gates. Everyone asked the same question: how could this happen under such heavy security? The FBI took the case immediately. They knew this had mob fingerprints all over it. But evidence was scarce. The crew left no shells, no fingerprints, no cars behind. The only lead? Louis Werner, still working at Lufthansa, sweating under the pressure of questions. Meanwhile, Burke and his men celebrated in shadows. The money was stashed, the jewels hidden. For the mob, this was the biggest score in US history. But there was one problem Burke couldn't control: greed. Crew members started spending. A new car here, a mink coat there. The very things Burke warned them against. And in the shadows, paranoia began to grow. Jimmy Burke had a rule: anyone who endangered the operation had to go. And soon, his paranoia turned JFK's heist crew into walking dead men. One by one, they disappeared. Tommy DeSimone vanished after bragging too loudly. Joe Manry and Robert "Frenchie" McMahon were found in the back of a car. Angelo Seppe's body turned up riddled with bullets. Burke wasn't just eliminating risks, he was erasing history. No witnesses. No loose ends. Even those who weren't directly tied to the heist but knew too much were silenced. The millions in stolen money vanished into mob hands, but the cost was blood. New York lived in fear as the bodies stacked. The Lufthansa heist wasn't just a robbery anymore. It was a massacre. Years passed, but the case remained unsolved. Burke was eventually imprisoned for other crimes, but not the Lufthansa job. Werner was convicted for his role, but he served quietly, overshadowed by the violence that followed. The FBI never recovered the stolen cash. The jewels were never traced. And the official record? Still, no one was ever convicted of the robbery itself. The Lufthansa heist became legend, immortalized in books, movies like Goodfellas, and whispered in crime lore. A perfect robbery, poisoned by paranoia, sealed by silence. Airports are supposed to be the safest places on Earth. Yet in 1978, inside JFK, the very symbol of American travel, one of the deadliest heists in history unfolded without warning. The lesson? The greatest dangers don't always come from the skies, or from outside threats. Sometimes, they come from the inside. The Lufthansa heist wasn't just about money. It was about trust, broken trust between workers and employers, between crew members themselves, and between the public and the very systems designed to protect them. To this day, the stolen fortune has never resurfaced. And the ghosts of those who died in Burke's cleanup still haunt the legacy of JFK. The perfect crime may never truly exist. But for one winter night in 1978, it came terrifyingly close.